evening, everyone, and welcome to Austin's Anfield Angle, your AAA grade Liverpool FC podcast where passionate Copites resonate. My name is DJ, and I'm your host tonight, and we're live from Austin, Texas. Once again, today is a Wednesday night, and we're going to be talking about the post-game analysis from the Carabao Cup, where Liverpool traveled to St. Mary's and took on Southampton, where Liverpool ended up winning the game by 2-1, and they now advance on to the semifinals of the Carabao Cup. So today's topic, we're just going to be doing a little bit more of a dissection of the game. We're going to get reactions. We might look at what the players said and what Arne Slot had said, talk a little bit about the approach, the rotation. Arne Slot was not there today, so it was actually Heitinga, who is the assistant coach, who was helping coordinate the entire team. Of course, Arne Slot was suspended following his yellow card over the weekend against Fulham at Anfield, so he has now served his one-match suspension. Andy Robertson, who has also served his one-match suspension today. So that would mean that's actually good that they had a midweek game and they won it in the Carabao Cup, so they should be available for the Premier League game this weekend against Spurs. Anyway, what we want to do is we're going to get into a little more detail about post-game analysis, and let's start off with the starting lineups. So for the starting lineups, Liverpool definitely had rested about 6 starting 11 players. In goal, they brought back Coleman Kelleher. Trent Alexander-Arnold was one of the primary 11 that kept his spot in the team. So they went with 4-3-3 as usual. Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right, Joe Gomez playing left back. Wataru Endo and Gerald Kwanzaa played as the center back pairing. We had Tyler Morton and Tremoris Nyoni, who is a very young upcoming star in the academy, both partnered in center midfield. And there were 3 attacking midfielders who were Harvey Elliott, McAllister, and Gakpo. And up top, the target striker was Darwin Núñez. So that was the Liverpool team. On the bench, it was good to see Tsimikas on the bench, Jota on the bench, Chiesa was on the bench. No sign of Salah, Van Dijk, Diaz, Alisson. So these players were all rested and not even part of the squad. So it was really good to see these players being rested, given how many games they play in a season. Southampton went with a 3-5-2 formation. They had a Taylor Harwood in the back, Nathan Wood, and Jan Bednarak. The 5 in midfield was made up of Flynn Downs, Fernandez, James Bree, Aribo, and up top they had Archer and Tyler J. Dibbling. So as the game started off, Dibbling from Southampton had a couple of good chances. Very early on, he had a shot saved by Coleman Kelleher. He was trying to be a little too smart there when he managed to get into the penalty box, and he had 2 defenders in front of him, but he tried to sneakily place the ball on the ground to slide it past Kelleher, but Kelleher managed to catch it. So that was a little bit of a scare from Southampton early on. They did have a few more chances that they created. And then, of course, in the 23rd minute, it was Darwin Núñez who had latched onto a through ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold, which did take a little bit of a slight deflection off a Southampton defender. And he managed to control the ball and get a shot away. That was making it 1-0 to Liverpool in the 23rd minute. Of course, Darwin Núñez, who was pretty low on confidence in the past few weeks, definitely he needed that goal. It'll be a big morale booster for him. He'll come back from this game and looking forward to the weekend with a little more confidence. He does seem to play better as a forward as opposed to playing on the wing. But I think that Liverpool's style that they typically play, he's always being used as a false nine. And I think he struggles in that kind of a role. He's definitely a target man, someone you want to feed the ball to, either on his head or even on the ground. And he will definitely get you those goals with explosive pace. Got a lot of power in his shot, too. Probably not the most composed finisher at times, as we've seen, but in this case, in the 23rd minute, he gave Liverpool a 1-0 lead. After scoring the goal, definitely he celebrated in a manner that he was trying to silence his critics, and well done to him there. So very pleased to see Darwin Núñez get a goal after a long time. And following that goal, approximately about 5 minutes later, it was Harvey Elliott who was played a beautiful through pass by Cody Gakpo. And Harvey Elliott picked up the ball just outside the box, took a touch on his left foot, drove into the box, and finished it by placing it with his right foot, giving Liverpool a 2-0 lead in the 32nd minute. So at that point of time, Liverpool were in cruise control. They were controlling the game. They were creating the better chances. Southampton just couldn't respond. Of course, Southampton had just lost their manager. So it was Russell Martin, Southampton's manager, who was sacked after their heavy defeat to Tottenham Hotspur a few days ago. So in this case, Southampton were a little bit of a wounded animal there. They were struggling. They were already struggling. They've got no manager in place. They might have been a little bit lost in terms of direction and how they were going to play this game. So definitely, there was a little bit of a disadvantage there. They were the home team. That was the only part that was a positive spark on their chance to score, which they did eventually score. So that was actually scored by Cameron Archer in the 59th minute. And I must say, Cameron Archer is a really good player. He seems to be really intense, really explosive, quick on the ball, not afraid to take on defenders. He is a really, really good player, and I think he's definitely going to move on to a bigger club in the coming future. So just about the goal from Cameron Archer, I think the ball was picked up just outside the center circle. Wataru Endo went down at the time, and Cameron Archer latched onto the ball and he drove forward into the box. And then he had Gerald Kwanzaa and Tyler Morton in front of him, where he eventually just did a little bit of a shoulder drop, pushed the ball to the right-hand side, and smashed it into the top corner with his right foot. It was a really good goal. I personally think Gerald Kwanzaa and Tyler Morton should have been closer to him to prevent that goal. Both of them were too close to one another, and they were a little too far away from Archer. Again, there's evidence about defending styles, and I think this is one reason why Arne Slot had taken Gerald Kwanzaa out of the starting 11 earlier in the season. I mean, he is a young lad, and he's got really good pace. However, he's lacking in confidence and strength where his ability to compete and win physical challenges. So that is becoming pretty evident now. So I don't think Arne Slot was wrong when he dropped him in the first place. I just want to see Gerald Kwanzaa try and bridge that gap and regain his position. I don't know if he'll be able to do it soon. I mean, he will have some opportunities for sure, but as soon as Ibrahim Konate comes back, I don't think he's going to be having much of a chance. So Konate is an absolute beast, and we all can agree with that, I believe. And the other person that was a really standout performer for me was Coleman Kelleher. He was critical where he made some really important saves. He definitely made a very important save where Cameron Archer almost had a second shot and almost a second goal when Sugawara had played in a really powerful cross, beating all the defenders. And I think it was a volley that he eventually got onto. Kelleher made a fantastic stop, preventing that. And then there's a follow-up shot as well, and the ball went out for a corner, which Kelleher once again made a fantastic stop. 2 stops back to back. And then later on, towards in the 88th minute, there was a fantastic diving header by, I want to say, Fernandez maybe. But sorry, it was actually Brendan Diaz, number 17. So he was the one had a great diving header in the 88th minute, and Kelleher again made a fantastic save. So Southampton did come back stronger in the second half. Liverpool's defense was probably not the strongest at times, lacked a little bit of composure. But eventually Liverpool did see out the game. Some positive notes from the overall outcome of the game in terms of squad performance. It was really good to see a return for Diogo Jota. He came and played on 30 minutes, where he had come on for Cody Gakpo. So that was good 30 minutes game time for him. That'll be under his belt, better building his fitness. Costa Simicas came on for Joe Gomez in the 46th minute. Chiesa came on for Trent Alexander-Arnold in the 46th minute as well. So it's a little bit of a different Liverpool team in the second half. In terms of fitness-wise, it was nice to get all these players back on the field. Costa Simicas, left back, very important for us given Robertson's suspension. But both of them will be available this coming weekend. I believe Trent Alexander-Arnold, once the game was 2-0 up, he was just rested, which is why they brought on Chiesa. So Chiesa had a good 45 minutes game time there. Another player who did really well. Alexis McAllister, he was suspended for the last Premier League game. He did come back today, but he only played 60 minutes, and then he was given a bit of a rest. Brought on James McConnell. So it was good to see some squad rotation, players rested, and still Liverpool coming away with the win. So this takes Liverpool to the semifinals of the Carabao Cup, and the draw will take place on December 19th, and that's when Liverpool will find out who they will play. Most likely it will either be Arsenal, Newcastle, or maybe even Spurs or Manchester United. So I think once the draw is out on December 19th, we'll find out who we're playing. Liverpool do have one of the best records among all of the English teams in the Carabao Cup. They have won this trophy a record 11 times, if I'm not mistaken. It is not the most prestigious trophy, I believe. And in comparison to the Premier League and the Champions League and the FA Cup, this trophy is the lowest in terms of the pecking order. It's a great competition for younger players to break through and, get players to get rest and get senior players to get rested and allow for squad rotations. But in terms of the prize and the value, I think the Carabao Cup is one of the least um, revenue generating trophies um, for any club. Regardless, it's still a piece of silverware. It still goes into the trophy cabinet. So we still want to win it. Liverpool won it last season with Jurgen Klopp. And I think they stand a good chance to win it this season as well. So um, that's something we'll have to wait for to see who we play. The games will be played at Wembley. I don't know why they keep playing it at Wembley. My personal opinion, Wembley is a great cup final stadium. Why would they be doing that for semifinals? Maybe it's just the way that the thing is structured, and I guess I have certain preferences. So that is the semifinal draw, December 19th, Thursday night. We'll keep you posted once we find out who we're facing. Um, so now let's step away from what happened in the actual game, and let's take a look at some feedback from the Liverpool manager Arne Slot to figure out what his thoughts were on the game. So, of course, one of the first questions that came his way was his reaction to a penalty shout where Jarrell Kwanzaa had used his arm in part of a tackle late on in the game, where Southampton may have been able to claim for a penalty kick. The referee didn't give it, and Arne Slot believed it was not a foul as well. Uh, in the moment, it seemed like it was a bit 50-50, but I think it's part of the game, the physicality. Sometimes it's difficult to say when you have players, trying to use different parts of their body to block and shield an attacker. So it is a little bit of a different point of view for everyone, I believe, but I think the ref made the right call in my view as well. Um, One of the other comments made by Arne Slot is the fact that Wataru Endo played a fantastic game. He is typically a defensive midfielder. He was played in a center back pairing today, and he outshined and performed really well. Uh, it just shows what sort of a mentality and what sort of player he is. Always up for a challenge, always willing to do anything he can for the team to drive the team forward. And he played a fantastic game. He made so many tackles and interceptions, and he read the game really well, even though playing out of position. Um, some other positive notes came in the sense that so the other player we wanted to focus on was Harvey Elliott. He's coming back from injury. He showed up on the weekend, played a few minutes. He did score a goal today. He played the full 90. Initially, he did start off on the right wing, but Arne Slot did bring him a little more into center midfield because that seems to be a little more of a preferred position for him. He was a little bit isolated out on the right wing, given that he's not played that position in a long time and he's just back from fitness. So a little bit of lackluster intensity when he was on the wing. He wasn't getting the ball as much. But when he dropped into midfield, you could see a very, very different kind of player. He was a lot more intense, quick touches, 1-2 passing, and so on. So that was very, very interesting for sure. It was a very big positive note because now Liverpool have an extra midfielder they can use and rotate their team. So that was definitely very, very positive. The other piece of feedback was definitely regarding Federico Chiesa, who played a good chunk of 45 minutes today. The Liverpool boss was very quick to shield the player in the sense that highlighting the player had been injured for close to 4 months. And he highlighted that, when players return from injuries, when they return, you can't expect them to still remain at the same level and perform at the same level immediately. you will need to give them time as their body fitness has to reach the same peaks it used to be at. And this would mean that they would need game time, they would need fitness and conditioning, and it'll slowly, gradually grow over time. Um, it was definitely a positive thing to see Chiesa play today. He had a really good chance. He should have scored, but he tried to play it square. Nobody got the ball on time, so um, he squandered that chance really. There were some moments of brilliance, where he did have some flair and movement with the way he took the ball and he tried to make a dribble or get past players. So that was glimpses of the quality that he has and possesses. I still think that he is several weeks away from getting to full fitness. We will see him, I believe, coming on as a substitute in the coming games just to regain some fitness and game time. I mean, and of course, he is a very good player already, but Arne Slot goes on to say that being a good player is just not good enough because, you have to compete for your place in this team. And when your competition are sorry, when your competition are players that are performing week in and week out, like Cody Gakpo and Mohamed Salah and Lucho and Darwin Nunez, it's hard to get into that team. So Chiesa has definitely got a lot of work ahead of him. He didn't have much of a preseason, but he's got some opportunity now to do a mini preseason, and now he's slowly coming back to full fitness. So really, really exciting times to see an additional attacker in Liverpool's uh, bench. This way, Liverpool will be able to add a different dynamic in their attack if they need to. So, very positive indeed. Slot also commented on his rotation policy where he's trying to get players some form of rest this week, considering the holiday season will be a bit of a chaotic fixture schedule given how many games we played over the Christmas and New Year's period. So, so it was very positive to see, his confidence in the younger players and the academy players. I think he made approximately 6 changes. He did go on to say players that have played a lot of minutes were given a rest. Players that have played, some minutes but did start the game, they were given some minutes and eventually they were taken off after about 45 to 60 minutes. Everyone got decent game time, so it was really positive to see a well balanced approach to game time management. A lot of us don't know too much about it because most of us here are not professional soccer players or footballers, but it's very, very important to do that. Several years ago, it was very, very popular with Rafa Benitez and Jose Mourinho and Sir Alex Ferguson. Sort of gotten a lack of attention recently, I guess. Pep Guardiola is another one who's really famous of managing game time. And you can see this from Arne Slot, which is actually good indication that he knows what he's doing. He's got good man management skills. So hopefully we see that progress into future games as well, and we start reaping the success from it. All right, everyone. So that brings us towards the tail end of today's post-match reaction show. We did cover a few topics today. We did have some discussion points. Didn't get into too much detail. I mean, it was a pretty smooth sailing game in overall for Liverpool. A lot of players rested. I think one eye is definitely kept on the weekend with Spurs, the travel to Spurs coming up. So that will be a big game. Do tune in. I think it is a 10:30 a.m. kickoff for us here in Austin, Texas. check your local listings and do tune in and watch the game when you can. For all of us here in Austin, we at Austin's Anfield Angle will be going down to BD Riley's in Mueller. We will be doing a live match viewing event. We will be talking to some fans and getting some game reactions, and it'll be posted on our Spotify and YouTube channels. So keep an eye out for that. So that wraps up today's session. So I just want to take a quick moment to recognize all the support and love, and just want to say thank you all. We've been growing from strength to strength. It's wonderful to see an increase in number of followers and subscribers. Thank you so much. We are looking to grow even more, and as they always say at Liverpool, with all this growth, we'll never walk alone. So, from all of us here at Austin's Anfield Angle, a big thank you, and have a good night.